Hey guys, how's it going? It's Ulysses from Snapkeep Videos, and I'm going to make a video today about something that a lot of the Magic the Gathering players have had problems with, especially the ones living in Florida, and that's about curling foils. When you have a curled foil and you go to a competitive event like a GP or an Open, you can get called out by a judge or by a fellow player because they're considered to be marked cards. The reason why is because a foil is on the front part of the card is different than a normal or non-foil card. A non-foil card is cardboard through and through, and a foil card has actual foil on the front, which is what gives it that holographic look to it. But for the cards to be uniform, the back has to also be cardboard, because if you have a deck with some non-foil cards in it and some foil cards in it, the backs have to be uniform. In case, you know, for those crazy maniacs out there that play with $2,000 decks that aren't sleeved up. So the problem with that is a foil card gets humidity trapped in it from the back side, from the paper side, the cardboard side. It absorbs the humidity and it starts to expand. And because the foiling does not allow for expansion, because moisture doesn't affect foil, it has no place to go. The cardboard has no place to go. So what it does is it starts to push the foiling and curl it, turns it into like a U shape. That's a problem, because if you sleeve it up, even if you double sleeve it, your cards, upon shuffling, you'll still be able to see. You'll just lay the cards on the palm of your hand and just, you know, expand your pinky and thumb finger, for example, and the cards will start to fall over, obviously because of gravity, but you'll see the divots of those foiled cards that are curled. You'll see them plain as day, and you know it just becomes a problem, and it's been a problem for a while now. And I actually had a friend who got a game loss. It was his first Open, and he got a game loss because he had his deck and it was mostly foiled out, and he wanted to get some of the commons and uncommons foiled, so he picked them up at the event and went ahead and sleeved them up before he registered. And I think it took I think it was round 5 when he got a deck check and the judge gave him a game loss. And unfortunately, it was in between the round or the matches, so he lost game 1. You know, he just lost game 1, and then the judge came and said, you know, table whatever, deck check, and took like 30 minutes. He didn't know why. They were both sitting there, everybody else around them. They were playing Modern, so you know Modern it doesn't take very long most of the time. And everyone was finished, and he was still waiting for his deck to come back, and they said, you know, unfortunately you have marked cards, and we have to give you a game loss. And because he lost game 1, he lost the round. So unfortunately that happened, and apart from the fact that that was really messed up, you know, it's something that I haven't really seen a video that has 100% given me a solution to it. I've gotten a couple that either I didn't have the materials to do it and I had to go out and buy it, or it was a temporary fix. And even though mine I don't think is a permanent fix, I've had good results with it, and I had to do a couple tests, you know, with it with lesser expensive foils so that I wouldn't ruin, you know, my $60 cryptic commands, which is basically what inspired this video. Like a lot of people out there that have the full art cryptics, you know, with the awesome Merfolk hand. It's apart from the Lightning Bolt, it's probably one of the most sought after full art foils, player rewards foil. Mine were curled severely. I got a trade, and they were slightly curled. They were passable when I got them, and didn't play blue for years. So I just sleeved them up, put them in my binder, put the binder in my office, and went to take them out of the sleeves the other day. I was like, oh, this isn't gonna work. So I put them in between a book. I had a dictionary, hardback dictionary, sandwiched them with my Harry Potter books, and then put them on the ground and put I had an anvil on top, left it there for a couple months, fixed them a little bit, but it was still noticeable. So I have a space heater. Coincidentally, my heating system went out, and I had to get a space heater. So I saw someone using heating fans that blow hot air, because they were like, if you put it on a radiator, it's going to be a problem. Well, I don't know much about heating and cooling, but I think that the one I happen to have is kind of like a radiator heating fan hybrid, because it doesn't have coils. It is made of tin, but the actual heating coils are inside. It's wrapped in tin, and it does blow hot air out. So it's not piece of metal that gradually, using water, you know, like a radiator does. It's not that. I put a piece of paper on top of it, a piece of notebook paper, just so as an extra barrier of protection, that it wasn't too thick, that still allowed it to get hot and hopefully absorb that moisture out. And I found that the better results I had were to put the foiling on top, because the moisture was sucked in through the back. So I laid the card, which I'll show you guys all of this. I laid the card face up and watched it and monitored it. And I did it with a couple of cheap cards, as I said, and I just gave it some time and started to mess around with it and see if putting it at full blast to make the process faster was better than putting it on low and letting it take more time. And in my results, the only thing, I haven't found anything different. The only thing is you have to be more vigilant when you put it on high, because you can actually curl the card in reverse, because moisture doesn't affect foiling but heat does, so you don't want to do that. And yeah, I got some pretty good results. I actually am about to open my deck box for the first time to see if it worked. I packed it as tight as I could and to see if they held their shape. Hopefully they did. And yeah, I will show you guys how to do this. Just gonna show you guys some examples. This is a whole box I have here full of random foils, F&M promos, things like that I got, and I don't have any use for them, so I just put them in this foil box. And if I want to foil out a commander deck or something like that, I look in here first before I go out and buy them. So here's some example of some foils that from various degrees of curling. I have Basic Island here that I got in this condition because the guy's deck was entirely foiled out and they all had the same degree of curl, so it can't be considered marked cards when they're all the same. It's in a Pro Fit right now, and this is the Pro Fit that he actually gave me with the card. I did not replace the Pro Fit or anything. So if you see, the card is curved. I'm not putting any pressure, I'm just holding it towards the camera lens, and you can see that it's curved. So that's an example of, you know, pretty good curling, you know, in my opinion. Then you have some that's slightly less curled. Probably, I mean, I feel like it is. It may look the same on camera, but this one isn't as bad. Then you have some extreme curling where this card, like, it's like a rocking chair. It rocks on the table, if you can see that. This card, like, I'm tapping it with my finger and it's rocking back and forth. This, incredibly so, will be flagged. This will be flagged for sure, almost guaranteed. You can basically see both edges of the card when you're not supposed to see. You're supposed to see one horizon, so to speak, and you can see both. I'm going to do this Sinister Sabotage, and then I'm going to show you now what you guys need to, you know, make this happen. First thing you're going to need is some notebook paper. Take a sheet of this out. So you're going to need this, and then you're going to need your heater. This is the heater that I use. This is my space heater for my home. And this is what I use to hopefully fix some curled foils. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take the paper and put it on the heater. The heater's on right now. I have it set to medium, I believe. Next, I'm going to take the curled foil. You can see, once again, pretty curled. And I'm going to lay it on top of the paper, just like this. And now the rest is a waiting game. I will start to pull the card and uncurl it slowly. Yeah, I showed some of the guys at my LGS and some of the guys that I play with when I travel. I travel up to Alabama. There's a really awesome store out that way, and I play over there most often competitively. And those guys really liked it. So I told the store owner about it. Told him I was going to make this video, and as you can see, the card is no longer curled. So I'm going to take this out. Oh, paper fell. Now the card is hot to the touch. It's kind of hot. It feels like it was left in a car. But as you can see, the card is straight as an arrow. You can see that one horizon, like I was saying. I'm going to put it on there for another 10 seconds because I'm paranoid and I feel like telling you guys, you know, showing you guys and everything for the last 10 or so seconds probably. It's going to start the curling process again because it's pretty humid in my house. So I'm going to leave it up there for another 10 seconds. But yeah, after I do this, I'm going to double sleeve it. I'm going to show you guys how my Full Art Cryptics are. After I did those, I put them back in their deck box in my Ultra Pro Satin Tower and tried to sandwich them between my deck and see if they held their shape. Here's the Sinister Sabotage. About to double sleeve it back up. It's holding its shape pretty well. Here is the deck box that has my cryptics in it. So as you see, I have 2 pieces of foam. They're sandwiching the cards to reduce that gap. Also, I didn't mention this before. In my deck, I'm gonna start doing this to all the decks I have with foils in them. I have a silica packet, like a Desiccant silica gel packet. This came with my Grimoire deck box. I got it as a gift for Christmas, and this was in there, so I was like, oh, I got to get more of these. You can get these from when you buy a new pair of shoes, or you can just buy a whole mess of them on Amazon. These things are great. They're worth their weight in gold, in my opinion, especially if you're a Magic player or a comic book collector, and I happen to be both. So my cryptics are currently in this deck. I have a couple of foils in here, but here's one cryptic, there's 2 cryptic, third one. There's still a little bit of give to them, but nothing major, nothing that will make them stand out. So I'll try and see if I can show you guys what I meant before about being able to clearly see them. Now I believe this deck right now has 4 of the promo Path to Exiles in them. So, and they're also foil. And I think I have more foil. I got a foil Electrolyze in here, foil Mountain, foil Negate. There are other foils. The cryptics are not the only foils here. I'm gonna give this a quick shuffle. Dragon Shields are the best, by the way. The Petrels are what I buy just because of the color. I just love the color, but they're all the same quality, these Dragon Shield mats, and they are fantastic. They are the closest thing to the original KMCs in my opinion. If I can spot these cryptics, I'm just gonna hold the deck in my hand and just let them fan out. You can see they're fanning out. So these cards right here, I don't know if you can see them, these cards right here immediately jumped out. And I'm gonna see if there's a cryptic among these 3 cards. Well, that's a Colonnade. Well, that's a Teferi. And this one is a Cryptic Command. Before I fixed the foiling, the curling, they popped out every single time, and it was 1 gap. It wasn't 3. As you can see, there's another divide right in the middle there. And it was a Field of Ruin, which is not foil, and a Lightning Helix, which is not foil. So I don't think I'll have a problem with these cards. They don't just stand out to me. I think it'll be better when I re-sleeve them, when I get brand new Petrels and put these in there. It's been about a week since I did the cryptics, and they're not fully identifiable. So I did it again. This time it was the Path to Exile and the Search for S contest. So I think I found a pretty, hopefully I found a semi to permanent way of fixing this problem. And again, I recommend that you find some way to tightly pack your deck when you're storing it. And I only have 1 silica packet. I'm thinking about putting like 2 or 3 more packets in there just to make sure the moisture stays out. And yeah, I think that this is something that's going to help a lot of guys out there that, you know, have their flashy decks, their pet decks foiled out and whatnot. This is what I use, and this is the experience that I had with this. I hope this helps you guys. This has worked for me really well. Like I said, you had no point of reference with the cryptics, but when I took them out of my binder, they were as warped as that Sinister Sabotage was before I fixed it a couple seconds ago. Some people have said that I've done the whole silica packet thing for 2 months in a box, you know, with just a bunch of silica packets and a bunch of foils. There's a guy who did that. I think he put it in his Grimoire box, his Grimoire deck box, and just big old, like, you know, pound packets of silica that he put in there, and he just closed it up, put it in a closet, and just left it there for a few months, and he's like, look, it fixed all my foils. Every video I've seen of people trying to help, you know, their fellow players uncurl their cards, most, if not all, of those people said that it's not a permanent fix. That it is, the only way to permanently keep your cards from curling is if you prevent it in the first place. So double sleeve them, keep them out of moisture, use silica packets from when they're near mint. When you get your card, just, you know, immediately start doing these precautionary steps, and that way your cards will never curl. But they say that whenever they do curl, you can't fix them permanently. Those cryptics, they still have a slight bit of, you know, little bit of what I call normal foiling bending, which is just from playing with the cards. That was the second time I did the Sinister Sabotage. The first time, that was my decoy card, or my guinea pig card. And it did fix it, as it did on camera for you guys. Then I had put it on my TV stand, not in a sleeve, not in a Profit, I just laid it on top there so that the natural, air and humidity of my house can curl it again so that I can use it for this video. If I learn anything else, I'll be sure to update you guys. I will either post it on the Florida Panhandle page or on any kind of magic forum site that I'm on, or I'll make another video if necessary. But I hope this helped you guys. I'm sorry I rambled a lot. Like I said, I like to be thorough with this stuff. So if you guys got any questions, feel free to comment. Support the channel. It's a kind of a small channel. I don't use it a whole lot, which I'm trying to get more stuff, more content to put on there. For you guys that play Magic, I hope you guys learn from this, and I hope it helps you guys. And it's a great game, so anything we could do to keep this game going, 25 years. If it can last another 25 years, that'd be great. So you guys have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.